friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Nora, and on today's video we are going to be touring finally my finished Elderwood plot on Palia. Now, I do want to disclaim that everything seen in today's video is not the complete plot. I'm actually working on one last spot before I drop it on home tour, so if you're interested in coming to visit this plot yourself, be sure to search my username on the Palia plot tours. If you're new here, basically I have been working on this plot for about 5 to 6 months. It actually looked a little bit different on my live streams a few months ago because we were actually going with a completely different look over here. I had built a wagon build and some other things, but I wasn't really happy with the build. And then we got the Elderwood update, which I feel like caused me to really spiral because everything just really suited the witchy overgrown look that I was originally trying to go for. But I didn't flatten everything on this plot just because I did do a ton of glitches. They are extremely painful to do, and I didn't want to have to go through the process of redoing them over again. So I kind of just let them be where I originally did the glitch and kind of had to work around them, which I feel like caused me a ton of burnout on trying to get this plot done. It just causes a lot more difficulty, in my opinion, to design. So trying to get through creative block to get this entire plot done honestly was like the biggest issue for me. But once I got around those areas that were really just causing me a ton of trouble, I started to see my vision finally come to life. So when I was designing this plot, I really wanted it to have almost like a terraformed effect, kind of like what you would see in Animal Crossing. So I actually had to anchor a lot of terrace pieces onto building blocks and building pillars, which was honestly the most painful thing ever because they won't clip together perfectly. There's just no way around that. So I had to go back in every time I would connect a terrace piece together and hide any imperfections with like bushes and rocks. I feel like the rocks were definitely my best friend through this because they just clip into everything so beautifully. So with all that being said, I was really able to accomplish this hill like terraform effect with these tricks, and I learned how to do this actually from my friend Fireflyskies and also tinydragon studios on YouTube. And I just wanted to quickly mention that every single creator that I am mentioning in my audio, I will have them linked in the description. I highly recommend going to check everybody out because their videos and their content really did help me put together my own plot. I have learned so much from their glitch videos, so definitely make sure you go check those out. Their content really does just break down every single thing you are seeing on my plot, so I really cannot express enough to please go visit the video's description for everything if you're wanting to learn how to do certain glitches or how to accomplish maybe something that I have done on my plot. Anyways, moving on, I have built an entire cottage out of some ghosted room pieces, which is another glitch. And again, I will have that stuff linked for y'all in the description. And I've also built it out of building blocks. But before we tour that area and talk more about the process of it, I did want to showcase this area over here, which is like this whimsical circle pond. And I actually did this as a Elderwood plot ideas video about 3 months ago. So I ended up keeping this build. And again, as mentioned earlier in my audio, this also was contributing to some of the issues I was having with burnout with this plot because I was having to work around such a big build. So I was finding issues with running out of space, just getting things to actually blend together. But I'm super excited I was able to make it work, and I'm so excited that it ended up working out really well with this plot. I just think it does add so much to the vibe. So the next location is kind of a filler build, but I did want to incorporate some sort of a hill next to the cottage. So this actually leads up to like a witchy spell area using that new pixie grove. I think that's what it's called. Up here, I just thought that that would be a really cool place for it, and it could kind of like overlook the pond and cottage. So that's up there. It's a relatively simple area because at this point of my build, I started to really get close to my item limit. So I was trying to save my item limit where I could. So I just went for a really simple transition. And then on the left side of the cottage, again, I kept this really simple because of the item limit becoming a huge issue, but it's technically unfinished. I still need to add a few more bushes over here and water decoration pieces, but I ended up running out of items. So I'm not going to really showcase this area too much because because it really is simple. There just isn't really much to talk about. You'll definitely be able to visit this on the tour if you want to explore it a little bit more. But now we're going to go ahead and tour the Witchy cottage, and this was such a fun and difficult build. I actually was kicking myself for not recording the entire process for a speed build. Long story short, this was kind of a test build to see if I could get my vision to come to life for a building block cottage, and before you know it, I was like really in the zone and I had an entire cottage built at the end of the night. So now I know that next time if I am testing a house build, I should probably just record to be on the safe side. That way I can give y'all a tutorial on stuff like this. But anyways, inside of our cottage over here, I have a tiny little kitchen build with a fireplace that is fully functional, and I cannot take credit for this fireplace because my friend El Serene actually came over and built it for me. Long story short, I was really stumped on this location, and she suggested maybe a fireplace could kind of help fill in the empty area, and I'm so glad that she decided that because I think that that really just helped me figure out where I wanted the living room and the spell nook and everything else. And she took inspiration for the fireplace from Lana's Vista, so I will have both of them also linked in the description. But anyways, this is how the entire cottage main room turned out on the first floor. I have my dining, living room, and spell nook all in one spot. Then right next to the kitchen is my cozy little dining area and a really tiny bathroom. I wish I could have definitely added some more flowers to the ceiling of the first floor. So basically these are floor tiles that I have flipped upside down, and that's how you're going to be able to attach the flowers onto the ceiling. But at this time of the build, I wasn't really thinking this through, and everything was attached and anchored to itself, so I didn't feel like having to redo it, so I left it pretty simple in some other areas. But if I would have planned the ceiling a little bit better, I definitely would have cluttered some more greenery on the ceiling, but it is what it is. I'm still happy with how it turned out, but in a perfect world, that's definitely what I would have preferred. The last location is the attic of the cottage, so as you can see in the footage, it's pretty simple too in terms of greenery on the ceiling. I definitely would have cluttered more up here to hide some of the building block imperfections. I actually had a lot of trouble with the ceiling because at the time when I was building this roof, the building blocks were really bugged out. So basically, no matter how hard you tried, they just wouldn't snap together properly, and they're still technically bugged too as of the latest patch, but they're working a little bit better thankfully. But because they weren't connecting right, they just weren't clipping together correctly, so unfortunately some areas of the roof is overlapping more than others, but I still think it turned out even under those circumstances. I'm really happy with how the roof just ended up looking. I think it definitely complemented the tiny cottage vibe that I was going for. Anyways, that's it for today's tour. I hope that everything on my plot brought you some much needed inspiration. Feel free to let me know your favorite spot too in the comment section below. Also, a huge thank you to all of my channel members and recent Coffee and Throne supporters. Y'all made today's video possible, so thank you again so much for supporting me as a creator. But that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a horrible day and see you soon.